Good morning, folks. Straight ahead is Grandfather Mountain. It's just about to go out of view there. I'm going to get another shot of it here in a minute, and the reason I'm showing you that is because that's where I'm headed this morning. I'm going to hike to the top of Calloway Peak, which is the highest point of Grandfather Mountain. Shaughnessy is not with me this morning because she had to work. This is Friday morning, August the 6th. I'm off on Fridays, so we are both trying to condition ourselves and get in shape for a hike that we're going to do, which is really hard, coming up in October in the Great Smoky Mountains. We're going to try to hike Mount Cameron, which is one of the toughest rated hikes in the mountains. So I'm trying to do some shorter hikes to get conditioned for that. But I also wanted one today that was somewhat challenging, and this one is going to be that. I'm going to be hiking up to Calloway Peak. That's not Calloway Peak that you're seeing now. I'm just talking now. I'll show you Grandfather Mountain here again in a minute. But I'm going to be hiking up Calloway Peak by the Daniel Boone Scout Trail. I wanted to say Boone Fork Trail. That's another trail. The Daniel Boone Scout Trail. You do pick it up at the Boone Fork Overlook on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's a little confusing because there is a Boone Fork Trail, but you actually get on it in Price's Park. In the campground or the picnic area. You can access it either place. But we're going to be going up the Daniel Boone Scout Trail today, and it is somewhat of a challenging trail. Steep in some places. There's a 2,000 foot elevation gain over a length of 3.5 miles. So it's going to be somewhat of a strenuous hike, but I need to do it to get conditioned for the harder hike that I'm going to be doing in October. So just wanted to show you Grandfather Mountain real quick and tell you what's going on today. It is just going to be me. Don't normally hike alone, but I got a day off today, so I'm going to do it. Just going to be extra careful. I've already made one mistake this morning, and that's I wasn't paying attention when I grabbed my hiking boots, and you ain't going to be able to see that. I actually have identical hiking boots. I have a pair that are high top and then a pair that are low top and the same shoe. And this morning, in my haste to get out of the house, I grabbed one of each. I grabbed one high top and one low top, so I'm hoping people don't notice that. And I'm hoping I don't twist my right ankle because that's the low one. So that's a little embarrassing, but anyway, getting ready to get on the Blue Ridge Parkway right here. And what that shows you is you need to not be in a hurry and you need to pay attention to what you're doing. Because if you don't, you'll grab one shoe and then grab the other one that doesn't go with the one you just grabbed. So I'm getting my words twisted there a little bit. But anyway, hopefully it'll work out okay, and hopefully people don't stare at me. They look just alike, except one's high top, one's low top. I got them both at Bass Pro. So anyway, getting on the Blue Ridge Parkway now. We're going to be headed south. We're actually in Blowing Rock right now off Highway 321. So we're going to be taking a right here and heading south on the Blue Ridge Parkway to mile marker 299.9, I believe it is. Might as well say mile marker 300. To the Boone Fork parking area, and that's where we're going to access the Daniel Boone Scout Trail. So more video footage to come. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. I have one higher boot and then one lower one. At least they look the same other than that. So again, hopefully nobody will notice, but anyway, I'm here getting ready to start the hike, so I'll be documenting parts of it as I go. Okay, and this is where the hike begins, up Daniel Boone Scout Trail at the Boone Fork parking area on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Now we are starting at an elevation of 3,905 feet. We're going to climb to over 5,900 feet, just over 2,000 feet elevation gain over the next 3.5 miles. So right here's the beginning of the trail. I did this trail, I want to say 4 years ago on my birthday. It was a very nasty weather day. It rained, had no views at all. So I don't even really know what I'm going to see when I get up there. But I'm going to give it a try today. Mainly I'm just doing this for the exercise and to condition myself. But Grandfather Mountain State Park. On this trail, I will mention that you do have to have a permit. There's going to be a place up here where you have to fill out a piece of paper and drop it in a box, and then you have to keep a copy of it on yourself. If they catch you without a permit here, I'm assuming you'll be fined. And they say that's for safety. I'm glad I just read that. You will need your vehicle license tag. I need to get that, I guess. They say it's for safety reasons. I guess if something happens to you, they'll have record that you were here. And here's what the blazes on the trail mean. And we're going to be on the white blaze, the Daniel Boone Scout Trail. There it is. That's going to be the white blaze trail. So if I start seeing other colors, I guess I'm going to know I'm on the wrong trail. There are several trails that intersect right through here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. Alright, and just for the record, I'm getting started at 8:15 a.m. Friday morning, August 6th. Blowing Rock, North Carolina, showing a temperature of 53 degrees right now. To me, it feels a little warmer than that. I'm going to say it's about 60. I think that probably needs to update, but it looks like today's high is going to be about 76 and the low 50. You might as well subtract another 10 degrees off what the temperature is going to be up at the top of Calloway Peak from this. So it's probably going to be about in the mid 60s up there when we get up there. So that should be pretty comfortable. So like I say, getting started at 8:15. We'll see how long it takes. Alright, the trail starts off rather rocky and roots. I think it's like that quite a bit from what I remember, so we'll see. But here we go, we're off, or I'm off. Okay, I've already come up on a junction here, so if you go to the left, that's the Upper Boone Fork Trail and the Calloway Peak Overlook. And we're not going to the overlook, we're actually going to Calloway Peak, so that would be that direction for those two. And then the Tanawa Trail intersection 200 feet from here, then the Nuwadi Trail and 0.4 miles. And I'm assuming this is still the Daniel Boone Scout Trail, or maybe we haven't come to it yet, but I know that's the one that we ultimately will be on. So far, not too bad. Of course, I just got started. A lot of roots. It's one concern I have about having that low shoe on my right foot is twisting an ankle. So I'm going to have to really watch it today and be careful there. Alright, here's the Tanawa Trail. Still have some of the white, I don't know if that's white rhododendron or if that's mountain laurel. Still have a little bit of that in bloom. Coming up now on this little bridge. We're going to cross a creek. Just walk through a spider web. And down at the creek here. The sun's starting to shine through the trees. I'll look back up this way. Little tiny waterfall there. Okay, here we are at the place where we have to fill out our permit. I brought a pen. I didn't want to get up here and there not be one. So, but it looks like there's pencils. So I'll give you a little bit of the description here. Sorry for the glare. We're in Grandfather Mountain State Park. This is the Nuwadi Trail / Daniel Boone Scout Trail. So, welcome to Grandfather Mountain. You're about to enter Grandfather Mountain State Park. The state park is managed separately from the adjacent privately owned Grandfather Mountain attraction. Yeah, now I think it costs a bundle to get in there now. I haven't been inside that in years. But trails offer magnificent scenery from rock outcrops, including 5,946 foot Calloway Peak. That's where we're headed. The highest point in the Blue Ridge Range, as well as quiet forested coves. Now when that says highest point in the Blue Ridge Range, that's not the highest point in North Carolina, and it's not the highest point in the eastern United States. Mount Mitchell's the highest in the eastern United States, and the Great Smokies have 16 peaks that are over 6,000 feet. But it is the highest in this section of the state. Okay, I just got my permit filled out. Now, what I had read was that there's supposed to be a yellow copy that I was supposed to keep on myself and then put the white copy in that box. There was no yellow copy, it was just the white copy, so I put it in there. But if I was to meet a ranger, I don't have anything to show on me, so that's not my fault. So anyway, here's some more blooms. Again, it's somebody who's knowledgeable in this. I want to say that's a mountain laurel, but could be like a white rhododendron as well. Pets must be on a leash. Now, unlike the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, you can bring pets on the Blue Ridge Parkway trails. This one here, I would not recommend it, because as you get towards the top, there is a set of ladders you have to climb, and a dog cannot climb the ladder. You'd have to carry your dog up the ladder. So unless your dog is really, really small and you can do that safely, I would not recommend a pet on this trail, or at least if you're only going as far as the ladder, that's fine. But beyond that, I think you'd have a hard time with a pet. So, loose rock there. That was almost not fun. Alright, so I'll be recording at different points. I don't know what the views are like from up here, because last time we did it, the only other time I've done it, it was a terrible weather day. It was foggy. It was rainy. Didn't see a thing. So I had actually said I wouldn't do this trail again, but I'm going to give it another shot, because there are supposed to be some good views, and it's quite muddy right here for some reason. Hasn't rained in, well, at least back home it hasn't rained in a few days. Maybe it did here. So about 45 minutes away from home, so they could have gotten a storm. Okay, and right here we have gotten a really, really thick area of rhododendron, and it's actually kind of nice and shady through here, and just a nice little pathway. Tell you, when I'm hiking in the summer, even though the temperature's cool, I'd much rather be in the shade, because you work up a lot of body heat when you're climbing. So haven't really started to climb too much yet. I mean, it's climbing slightly, but it's certainly very doable and not really strenuous yet. So, but that's going to change. Alright, we got two pretty good size boulders right here off the trail. Now I've come up on some more signs, and much to my relief, I have been on the right trail. I was a little worried about that, because this trail is blue blazed, and that's supposed to be the Nuwadi Trail, but apparently the Nuwadi Trail does junction with the Daniel Boone Scout Trail, which is the one I'm trying to be on. And basically I take a left right here. Daniel Boone Scout Trail, 1 mile. Have another mile to go for that. I've come about a mile, maybe a little more than that. 2.7 miles to Calloway Peak, and not going to the swinging bridge today. And here's a warning that you should be aware of. Portions of the Grandfather, Underwood, Black Rock, and Daniel Boone Scout Trails require the use of installed ladders and cables to gain access over steep rock. I remember those ladders. And it's not so bad going up. I was a little scared coming down, though, that I wouldn't put my foot in the right place and take a tumble. So we're going to have to really be careful with that today, since I'm hiking alone especially. Be aware that use of these structures may result in the risk of serious injury or death. Yeah, not a big deal, just you may die. Exercise extreme caution when using these structures. And there's a picture of them. Yes, I remember those. So, these portions of trail are not recommended for pets. That's what I said earlier. You can bring your pets legally on this trail, but you probably don't want to go past the ladder unless, like us, we have Yorkies. No way I'm going to bring them on this trail anyway. But you could carry something like that up. But if you've got a big dog, he's not going to be able to climb that. So. Alright, it looks like we're fixing to climb, folks. So far it's been just a moderate, steady climb, not bad at all. Sweating a little bit because of the backpack, but I'm feeling good. That's all about to change, I think. Here's where we begin our climb, so might as well get started. Okay, the trail is getting noticeably more difficult to navigate. A lot of roots here. You got to take this really slow. Rocks. In fact, ain't much of a trail. I don't remember this part of it. I'm sure it was here. I just don't remember it. But we're also going to be coming up on a little bit of a tragedy here in a little bit. An airplane wreck that's still here. And I'll tell you more about that when we get there. I think it's right before the stairs. But yeah, I don't remember this little section here. But it's getting a little bit harder to navigate this trail. I guess I might have to put my foot down in there somewhere. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. Okay, well I have my first view of the hike. And again, when we came last time, there were no views. So I don't really know what to expect today, but here's first view. I'm standing on a rather steep rock right now to get this, but looking back down that way. And we got kind of like a gorge area right here. And then we're looking up, and I'm assuming what is part of Grandfather Mountain. So anyway, our first view of the trip. Hopefully there'll be more, because like I said, I have no idea what the views are from this hike. We were in the clouds last time, and today we got nice clear skies. And right there is where I was just standing for that view, and no, not at the edge. I'm not that foolish. I was standing actually on that little, where I could put my foot safely right there. But alright, here's where we just came from. This is a pretty rough trail, and here's where we're going. So alright, here we have a rock, and you can see the various layers there. That'd be a cool place to get out of a storm, just to lay up under there. And hopefully there'll not be a rattlesnake laying beside of you. But trail is getting a little bit steeper, but it's not the steepness that's getting me, because you have to go so slow. I'm actually resting as I walk, if that makes sense. But it's getting harder to navigate. Yeah, the trail is just getting a lot more rugged. But Grandfather Mountain is known as the most rugged mountain in eastern United States, so I guess that's what we would expect hiking up it. But yeah. Now, I was watching a video on this hike last night, and I remember somebody mentioned this, and apparently this is where they were. If you look up under those rocks, there's like a texture to that. It's interesting. Just that one spot too. Rest of it pretty smooth. Alright, coming up on another view here, and a nice big rock. I'm not going to try to climb that one. No way, no how. Pretty much the same view as last time, except you can see a little more to the left, further up Grandfather Mountain slightly. Up there, and up here we've got an area of rhododendron, blueberries, and flame azaleas. And the azaleas have already bloomed, and the blueberries I don't think have come in yet. Maybe they have. Maybe that's July. Again, not a botanist. I know everything up here is about 6 or 8 weeks behind back home because of the elevation. We're starting to get into some of the spruce firs and Canadian forest at this elevation. I'm going to guess by that we have to be at least 4,500 to 5,000 feet, because that's where the Canadian forest starts. So we have to be at least that high. And I'm not sure what peak we're looking at out in the distance there. Very quiet up here. Starting to break a little bit of a sweat, but we got a nice little open view here, so I'm gonna get a little bit of that. You have got to be kidding me. Yes, folks, that's the trail. And there's no way I'm going to be able to do that with a camera in my hand, so I'm going to have to put the camera up for a little bit. Wow, I do not remember that part. I don't. But I'm on the right trail. There's the orange blaze, and We're heading to the Daniel Boone Scout Trail, so I know I'm on the right one. It's been about 4 years. I do not remember this part. But evidently it was here, so. Well, this trail just keeps providing surprises. This is literally the trail. There's my drop off. And again, I don't remember this from the last time. I guess it's a good thing we're in the clouds, because man, it makes you think how close I was to the edge. Didn't even realize it. But I do not remember this section. Now, I want you to notice those exposed trees there on that rock outcropping, how they're kind of slanted, especially that first one. How it's kind of slanted to one direction, to the left. It's because of the way the winds, extreme winds and cold up here. You'll see a lot of trees that are pointing in one direction. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not there, but you can kind of see it that way. It's all the branches are pointing toward the left. And you see that a lot, and that one up there to some extent too. That's because of the wind. So, again, we're looking off into a gorge here. I wish I knew the name of it. It's not the Linville Gorge. That's on to the southwest of us a little bit. Did a hike up there last year at a Hawksbill Mountain, and you had a good view of the Linville Gorge. This is not the Linville Gorge, although we are near Linville. This is something different. Well, let's trek on. Okay, it appears coming up on a little open area by this rock outcropping up here. And see what kind of view we're going to have. I think it's pretty much the same view that we've been having. Yeah, pretty much the same. Hear a bird off in the distance, but again, we got a lot of the little rhododendrons here are pretty stunted. Yeah, you literally got stuff growing right out of the rock and on the rock. Little blueberry bush and some kind of little mossy, like creeping, whatever. I'll guarantee you that's not what it's called, mossy, like creeping thing, whatever. But again, I don't claim to be a botanist, just know a few things. Alright, looking back down at some more of the trail, it is becoming pretty much now nothing but rocks and roots. Some places it's hard to identify that there even is a trail. It is getting harder. Still, I'm not struggling. I'm sweating, and I'm breathing hard, but I'm not struggling. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm in better shape now than I was 5 years ago, and I still got a lot of ways to go. But I remember 5 years ago, we hiked up Gregory Bald in the Great Smokies, and to me, that's still the toughest hike to date that I've ever done. But I also weighed at that time about 240 pounds, and I was 47 years old at that time. 52 years old now. Weigh right now about 220, 215, 220, so I've taken some pounds off. I'm going to take off about 10 or 15 more between now and October when we do Mount Cameron. But last several hikes I've done, I don't struggle like I used to. To be honest with you, this hike is rated strenuous. I'd say that's right. This would definitely be considered strenuous. I would say this, the first mile of it is not bad at all. I would rate the first mile as moderate. Back there where you saw where I recorded the signs of the junction where it said Daniel Boone Scout Trail 1 mile, we've still not come that mile yet. And that's been a good bit ago. I would have thought we would have come a mile by now, but it's been mostly uphill, navigating rocks and roots. Let me just say that if you get to that point and you're already miserable, you might just want to call it a hike and not try the rest, because right after that is where it really starts to intensify. There's been one section that I've noticed that was downhill for just a little bit, and it was not far. I don't really like losing elevation on a hike because you have to make it back up at some point. But there was one downhill stretch, very few level stretches, a few. But after the junction of that sign, if you're already struggling, you're going to struggle mightily the rest of it. But just because the trail, just the quality of the trail deteriorates. I mean, it's a nice trail. I mean, it's pretty in here and all the vegetation, but you could easily twist your ankle, and I'm very concerned about having that lower shoe on my right foot, because it's always usually my right ankle that I twist for whatever reason. I probably twisted that ankle 20, 25 times in my life. I don't know if I've ever twisted my left one. Hope today's not the day. But anyway, this trail does get much more strenuous. We have not even come a mile since that junction yet. If I were walking on level ground, I would have walked 2 miles by now. So that gives you a little idea. But we're going to carry on, or I'm going to carry on. Okay, folks, I have arrived. Not at my final destination, but at the Daniel Boone Scout Trail junction. And so that means I have come a mile now since the junction back there. In my last recording clip, I said that I had not come a mile yet. That was literally like 3 minutes ago. So, High Balsam Shelter. I'll show you that shelter when we get up to it. I remember that one very well, and I was very thankful for it that day. It's not much, but it came a torrential downpour and thunderstorm while we were hiking down, and we happened to be near that shelter right as it hit. So we went inside of that and waited out the storm. Still got soaked on the way to the shelter, but very thankful it was here. So we still have another 1.7 miles. I apologize for that. I'm trying to stand at an angle maybe where but the sun's just shining right on that. Yeah, 1.7 miles to Calloway Peak. So, I'm going to step over here. This is called Flat Rock View. If I remember correctly, we walked between those rocks right there. And I know I remember correctly when I say last time I was up here, the only view you had was of the rock itself. You couldn't see much of anything. So, let's see what... About to twist my ankle right there on that root. Let's see what we got here. Grandfather Mountain State Park, Flat Rock View. Be aware of ridge line and weather conditions. Yeah, found that out last time. Watch for lightning, high winds, and slick trail conditions. The trail follows the ridge line and cliff edge in some areas. Be aware of inherent dangers, especially in fog and with slick trail conditions. And please keep dogs leashed at all times. I don't know why you would even have a dog up at this point. I have not seen anybody with a pet on this trail today, which, to be honest with you, I've only seen 3 people today. They are ahead of me. They started about the same time I did. I've let them kind of stay ahead. And whenever I feel like I'm catching up with them, I just kind of stop and pause at an overlook or something. So, right here, Daniel Boone Scout Trail. We're still going to climb another, wow, 18, well actually we don't have 3 more miles. I guess that's total. 1,800 feet in 3 miles. It's quite a climb, folks. Cragway Trail is an elevation change of 700 feet in 1 mile. That's an even steeper grade. So let's step over here to the Flat Rock View and let's see what kind of view we have from the flat rocks. Like I said, this is not a crowded trail today. Usually it's very heavily trafficked. Sometimes the parking lot's full. Parking was not an issue today. Okay, after a little bit of effort, I'm finally up on top of Flat Rock now. And to be honest with you, the view is somewhat obstructed. You got these trees kind of blocking. You have a little bit of a view here with a lake of some sort down there. I don't know if that's Price Lake. I really don't know. Gives me some things to research once I get back home. But I don't think that's Price Lake. But I don't know. I think Price Lake's a little bigger than that. Okay, so apparently I've only come 2 miles. That means we have, it said 1.7 to Calloway Peak, so it's actually 3.7 miles. Seemed like they gave a different distance back when we started, but so that means total round trip today is going to be 7.4 miles. Whichever mileage happens to be correct. So anyway, now we're getting on the White Blaze Trail, which is Daniel Boone Scout Trail. So, and I remember this one having some pretty rough areas as well, so we'll see. Alright, I want to pause here just for a second or two. Less than a mile from the summit now. Very quiet. You got a bird singing to me. Now y'all can hear that. And other than me talking, that's the only sound you hear out here. Like I say, less than a mile to go. Alright, we have got a massive amount of ferns in the forest here. There's always ferns in the forest, but there's just, I mean, a lot of them right here. I don't know if I've ever seen more in one location or not. And this is Fern. So everybody say hello to Fern. Pretty much in every direction. Another glimpse of the trail and how rooty it is. Now, gotta confess to you, I've already tripped about 3 times now. And haven't fallen, but seems like the steeper the incline gets, the harder it is to pick your legs up over things. So you got a steep incline with some roots and a lazy old man trying to pick his legs up, and you're going to have a couple of incidents like that. But no injuries. I hope I don't get injured because I'm by myself today. Okay, I believe this is going to be pointing us towards the shelter, so that looks more like what I remember. So we're going to detour, and yes, I do see it, and that is the shelter that we were in, so we're going to walk out and see that. Just met a gentleman who was coming down, and he was not very encouraging at all. Well, he tried to be afterwards, but I said, I am almost there, right? And he goes, I was hoping for him to say, oh, yeah, you got it. But that was kind of a disappointing sound. And then he said, once you get to the 3-mile marker, 3.0 mile marker, he said, then it's straight up. I'm like, man, what's this been? You know, but we are now at an elevation of 5,709 feet. So we've gained 210 feet since the campground, and we have to gain another 237 feet to reach 5,946, which is the top of Calloway Peak. So let's walk down and see the shelter really quick. Alright, here we go. And there is inside the shelter, and that is where we sat to wait out the thunderstorm. And I can't tell you how happy I was that day that we were near this. But you got to kind of bend down to get in there. But anyway, that's it. Certainly, that's like a mansion when it comes to a thunderstorm. Just as good as a mansion. But I was very thankful for it that day. I think we're getting close to where we have to start climbing the ladders. I guess that's what he meant by straight up. It's where we have to climb the 2 ladder sets, which I do remember that. I don't remember that being too terrible. Should be coming up on the plane wreck here in just a minute, and I'll say more about that when we get there. Okay, we are coming up on the plane wreck now. A couple of the other videos I watched, I'm not saying nobody does it because I didn't watch them all. But a couple of the other videos I watched, they recorded it, but they didn't really tell you where it's at. It's not actually on, you have to look off the main trail a little bit, but I'll tell you the best way to find it is after you see the shelter that we were just at on your left, you walk a little further up, and you'll see this wooden platform. That's another backcountry campsite, I guess, for a tent. When you see, let me walk back over here where you can see that. When you see that wooden deck right there, and the sign, there's a sign through the trees there. When you see that, immediately look over to your right, and you will see the plane crash off of the trail. Now, I'm going to walk out here to this. This is kind of sad. And I took a screenshot of some information about it as I was reading up on it last night. I'll put that in the video when I get back. But basically, I don't remember what kind of plane it said, but it's in the screenshot. And what happened was the man was flying. He was from Pennsylvania. He left Pennsylvania in this plane and was en route to Florida. He was flying solo. He was the only one on the plane. And this happened in 1978. This has been laying here for 43 years now. And he basically had warnings of the fact that Grandfather Mountain was getting stormy and he was not going to be able to see the mountain. There was stormy, foggy weather, as is often the case on Grandfather Mountain, and he kept going anyway. And he never saw Grandfather Mountain. He just basically hit it. And like I say, that was 43 years ago. And I'm going to say something here. Some of y'all may disagree with me, and you know, I try to be positive, but my goodness, to me, people have to inscribe their names. I mean, a man died right here, you know. I just be honest with you, to me that's disrespectful. I know the man doesn't know it and doesn't care, but you know, when I stand here a place like this, I realize a man lost his life right here, and what I'm thinking about is not writing "I was here." You know, I don't get people today, to be honest with you. It seems like people don't have a lot of respect. Some don't. But what I think about is that man went into eternity. And I hope he was ready. I hope he knew Christ as his Savior. Because I'll tell you this much, folks. Any of us can die today. The Bible says in Proverbs 27:1, "Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth." And I'm sure when that man left Pennsylvania that morning, he did not realize that was his last day on earth. He thought he was going to Florida. And he went into eternity after hitting the side of a mountain. And I'll tell you what, anything can happen to any of us. I have a funeral to go to this evening. A classmate of mine, guy I graduated high school with, just a little older than me, passed away 2 weeks ago from the virus. He had posted on Facebook to pray for his wife who had the virus, and the next thing we knew, he was in the hospital with it. And his wife, thankfully, from what I understand, is doing better, but I think he lived 6 days after that. And I just want to say that, you know, this life is uncertain. The Bible says our life is like a vapor. As you know, a vapor, you can see it in the morning, and by the time the sun comes up, it's gone. That's what our life is, folks. And it pays to be ready to meet God. The Bible says it's appointed unto man once to die, and after this the judgment. Make no mistake about it, death is not the end. After you die, there's a judgment. We have to face God, and the only thing that's going to matter, it's not going to be if you were a good person. It's not going to be if you attended church. There's not a church out there that can save you. The only thing that's going to matter is if you received what Jesus did for you on the cross. When he shed his blood, that was the payment for your sins, and you received that by faith, and his righteousness is attributed to your account, which is a good deal because we don't have any righteousness of our own. So just want to put that in there today. It's kind of surreal in a way to be standing where you know somebody died in a plane crash, something like that. But I hope the man was ready. If he was, and maybe get to meet him one day. But all I can do now is hope that he was, because it's too late to pray for him. But I hope anybody watching this, that you'll consider that life is short. People are always talking about life's too short. It's too short to not know God, I'll tell you that. It's too short not to have a relationship with your Creator. So anyway, I think we are getting pretty close to the steps now. So let's carry on, if I can find the trail again. It's a little tricky. I need to look for one of the white blazes. And if you don't see one, just start walking on what looks like a trail. So, and here we go. First set of stairs we're going to have to climb. And yeah, it's actually worse coming down than it is going up as far as getting on initially and getting your footing correct. Looks like over here, I don't know if these are old ones. Looks like, yeah, I'd say that would be old ones there. That one doesn't look like it's in good shape. Wonder how often they do have to replace these. Weather and rotting and decay. I'm sure they use a pretty good wood that's decay resistant, but get a pretty good amount of snowfall up here and a lot of rain, so I imagine things would deteriorate quickly. So, well, and there's another set. Yeah, I see the other set barely. Let's get this first one done, then I'll show you the second one. Okay, there's one set down, one to go. Yeah, that was a little bit unsteady. And here's the second, and it looks like, starts to say shorter set, but no, it ain't. I believe it's longer, actually. Yeah, about the same. As much as I would like to record going up the steps, I don't believe I'm going to do that, because I'm going to need both hands for this, I believe. Alright, made it up the second flight of steps. Sorry I couldn't record that. I guess that's where I need a GoPro strapped around my head or something. But now we've got cables. And this is the final, I hope, ascent to Calloway Peak. Well, that guy wasn't lying when he said it was straight up. And he also told me that it was straight up when I saw the 3.0. There it is. I thought maybe I just passed it. Seems like I've come 3 miles since the 2.5 mile mark. But finally starting to feel like I need some breathers and to stop once in a while. Before I was mainly stopping to keep the other hikers in front of me and just to pause and get some recording, but this is working on me now. Still doing good though, still fine. Not really out of breath, just my legs and my feet are feeling it a little bit, but ain't gonna stop now, we're almost there. Okay, here's actually a third and much shorter set of stairs. I believe I can navigate these without much problem. And I just met those 3 hikers that I was talking about. They were coming down, and unlike the last guy, they gave me good news. They said I'm all clear now, I'm almost there. Such wonderful people they are. I like them already. But anyway, according to them, we got it. So let's go on to the top. Okay, I have reached the summit of Calloway Peak, the highest point on Grandfather Mountain. And I'm assuming that blue X just to let you know not to go any further. They really don't have to tell me that. I'm not even going to go that far. Go as far as I can safely, just to show you the drop off there. And I've still got about 8 feet of rock between me and it. I'm going to show you some of this view. It is a nice view up here. You're looking over at one of the other peaks of Grandfather Mountain. I know this is Calloway. I know it's the highest, 5,946 feet. I don't know what that one's called. And then looking out towards the Roan Mountain area, I don't really see, yeah, actually I think I do see Roan Mountain out there. It's kind of obscured by the trees. And it's a little bit too hazy to see as far as Mount Mitchell and the Black Mountains today. I can make them out just barely. I'm going to try to zoom up on them. I don't know if the camera will pick them up because, again, if you come up here in October or even in the spring, I wouldn't come in the spring to be honest with you because it's still going to stay icy on this trail until probably in April. But anytime you can come when there's not a lot of haze, summer haze, you'll see a lot further. Don't know if you can make out the Black Mountain Range there or not, but what I can see is looking down on, yes, believe it or not, that's Grandmother Mountain. Grandfather Mountain, he met up with her. That's Grandmother Mountain with the tower on top of it. And then of course we're looking out at Hawksbill and Table Rock, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm looking at my LCD screen, there's such a glare on it. I can only hope I'm getting this. But if I am getting it, I believe it's coming in now. That's Table Rock on your left. It sits about 3,900 feet above sea level. It's lower than we are here. And Hawksbill is on your right, which actually looks lower, but Hawksbill is a little higher. It's 4,010 feet above sea level. We hiked to Hawksbill last year. That's the place that gives you a good view of Linville Gorge. But we are up above all that right now on Grandfather. And I wish these trees were cut back just a little bit. I know they don't like to mess with nature, but work hard to get up here, I'll tell you what. And then looking back down into the valley, and way down there in the valley somewhere is my house, because we can actually see Grandfather Mountain from Granite Falls, Highway 321, which is just above my house. So down in that valley somewhere is that area, but I do want you to notice the spruce tree, fir trees up here. These are Canadian type trees, and again, look at how the wind has twisted them and blown them in one direction. Now, right now the temperature up here feels like it's in the 70s. I'm sure it's not, though. I think that's just because I have generated so much body heat walking up here. I'm going to spend a little bit of time up here before I head down, looking down at the Blue Ridge Parkway. And actually, I am able to see the Black Mountains better now. It's clearing out a little bit. So I'm going to zoom up on Mount Mitchell. Try to zoom slowly. Alright, if you're seeing that, that's the highest peak in the eastern United States at 6,684 feet. Just cleared out all of a sudden. Couldn't see that 5 minutes ago. Okay, I'm going to get one final view from the top of Calloway Peak. I've been up here almost an hour. I got here at 11:03. It took me 2 hours and 48 minutes to walk up, and that was with stopping and recording. I don't anticipate to do any recording on the way down, so should get down a lot sooner and shouldn't have to stop and rest. But we'll have to take it slow in a lot of places. But it's right at 12 o'clock now, so I'm fixing to head down the mountain. And anyway, nice view. Stayed up here, like I said, almost an hour. And got a 3.7 mile walk back to the parking lot. So, well, coming down the trail now, and quite honestly, it's a little more treacherous, at least this last steep part, which was the final ascent up. It's pretty treacherous coming down. I'm really having to watch my footing. It should moderate out here in a little bit. Just starting to meet a lot more people. Coming up, I guess most people didn't get quite as early a start. Starting to meet some people coming up, and I just saw a guy. I've never seen this on a hiking trail in my life. He's carrying in his backpack, it's sticking out a long ways. One of those, it's like those styrofoam noodles, like a pinkish orange color, like what you see in swimming pools. I have no idea why anybody would take one of those camping, or what purpose that's going to serve on this trail. But that was interesting. But y'all seen what I'm talking about. It's those little, those long styrofoam noodles that you see in swimming pools. They're usually, I guess they're 7-8 feet long. I don't know why he would have that, but he did. So. Okay, everybody, I'm almost back down to the parking lot. This is going to sound humorous, but I hope I'm at the right parking lot, because I actually ended up coming down a different trail than I went up, and that's not intentional. But I think they both come out at the same place. I'll tell you what happened. I'm hearing cars, so I know I'm near the road. But did not pass this sign coming up. Grandfather Mountain State Park. Area contains hazards associated with rocks, steep slopes, and cliffs. Injury or death possible. Stay on marked trail. I'll tell you something. Injury or death is possible if you do stay on the marked trail, too. It's a rough trail. But anyway, back at the junction of the Flat Rock View, there's two signs, and there's a couple trails that come together right there. And coming back down, I saw one sign pointing to the left that said Boone Fork Parking Area 2.1 miles. And then I saw the other one pointing to the right that said Boone Fork Parking Area 2.0 miles. And you know me, I'm all about cutting that 0.1 mile off. So I took that one and kind of find out that was a different trail than I came up. I think I came up on the one that was 2.1, because some of the things I saw coming up I've not seen coming back down. I've kind of figured out about 45 minutes ago I was on a different trail. but this one is supposed to still come out at the same spot. It's all good, you know, you start at the same spot, you end up at the same spot, just two different ways to do it. But I can hear cars now, so this actually did not seem to take too long coming down. Not quite back yet, but I am close to the road, so anyway, I'm kind of glad I did take a different way coming down, even though I haven't seen really any open views on this trail at all. I saw them going up, so that's all I need. But this one is about as rough as the one going up as far as rocks and roots. I'll say more about that when I get back in the van, which hopefully is not going to be much longer, because, and actually you do this little switch back here, and I see now what happened. Yeah, I think I see now exactly what happened. Right up here is the Tanawa Trail, which when I was going up, apparently is what I stayed on. Let's just see here if I can get this figured out. This has never happened to me before, and I've done quite a bit of hiking. So Nuwadi Trail, yeah, I think I stayed on the Nuwadi Trail until I got to, oh no, that's going back towards the parking lot. You know what, I don't know. Daniel Boone Scout Trail permit required. I'm going to have to go back and watch the video. I don't really remember that sign either. Maybe I did, but I know I didn't come back down and see the same overlook. So apparently, what are we? 0.6 miles. Still a little bit over half a mile to go to the parking area. But I'm hearing the road now, and I'm hearing cars. So even if I did, which I know I did take a different trail coming back down, it looks like it's all going to end up at the same spot, which is a good thing. Did not want to have to hitchhike back to my van or walk back to it. I don't know of too many people that would pick up me hitchhiking. I wouldn't. So anyway, but I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna have to. I don't have a trail map on me, but I'm gonna figure out exactly what I did once I get back to where I can look at one. But I think back there at the flat rock view is where I took that right to cut that 0.1 off, and I apparently had come up on the trail to the left that was 2.1 miles back to the parking lot. So, has to be it. It was the only other option. But I'll say more about the hike once I get back to the van. Okay, everybody, just got back into my van. It took me, going up, it took 2 hours and 48 minutes to hike to Calloway Peak. I left the summit right at 12:05, and I just got back at my van at 1:59, so that was actually just under 2 hours. That's almost an hour less to come down than it took me to go up. I did stop some going up. I didn't think I stopped for an hour total, but didn't really ever have to stop and rest coming down. Just had to make sure I didn't fall and hurt myself. Did end up coming down a different trail by accident. Ended up right at the same spot. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on this hike. Once again, this was the Daniel Boone Scout Trail up to Calloway Peak. And actually, I think going up, I started off on the Nuwadi Trail and ended up intersecting the Daniel Boone Scout Trail. Coming back, I just pretty much stayed on the Daniel Boone Scout Trail. So that's why I ended up coming back a different route. But as far as this hike overall, few good views going up, no views at all coming back. It was just all wooded coming down, which is fine because I saw everything going up that I needed to see. The views from the top are decently good views. It's a lot of hard work to get up there. This hike is rated strenuous. I would agree with that. It's a strenuous hike. It's not easy at all. It wasn't murderous either. I mean, it's not like I ever felt like I couldn't continue. It's a lot of work to get up there for the views you get. And I would say the hardest hikes I've done to date are Mount LeConte, done that twice. Gregory Bald, to me that's still the hardest I've done. This one and Hemp Hill Bald from Poles Gap in the Great Smoky Mountains near Balsam Mountain Campground. I've done those 4. As far as this one, would I do it again? I don't think I'm going to do this one again. It's like I say, the view is nice once you get to the top. It's a very rocky and rooty trail, and all of them are, to be honest with you, but this one especially. It's not so much the climb that's hard on you, it's the impact on your legs and your feet just from all the rocks and roots. And I was worried. I told y'all going up this morning how I wasn't watching. I grabbed one low shoe for my right foot and then the other one for my left foot. I'm just glad I had a right and a left. That would have been bad. I don't think I could have done the hike that way, but I did end up turning my ankle coming down as I was afraid I would, but it wasn't bad. It did hurt for a few minutes, but you know, what choice do I have? I have to keep walking. You know, ain't nobody gonna carry me out of there, so I had to walk. But within 15-20 minutes it quit hurting. It's not, right now I can't even tell that I twisted. It's not hurting at all. So I don't think it was a major thing by any stretch of the imagination. Got up there and there was somebody with a dog up there. I did say to begin with that I hadn't seen a pet. Got up there and a person had a pit bull. And you remember those steps I showed you? I asked the guy I said just out of curiosity, was she able to climb up those or did you have to? He said, oh no, we carried her. It was a good sized pit bull. And then coming down the trail, I saw somebody else with a pit bull going up. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, if you want to bring your pet, that's fine. As for my recommendation, I don't recommend it. I'm not carrying a pit bull up those steps. I'm not going to do it. I have to have all my hands and both my legs steady just to get myself up it. I'm not carrying a pit bull up it. I have a boxer at home. He can stay home for this hike. Not going to happen. But you're not breaking any rule if you do it, so if you want to do it, have at it. I wouldn't even want to have brought our Yorkies up there. Wouldn't want to take them on a hike that long. I would have to carry the oldest one. And I don't know, I just don't think it's safe. So my recommendation, obviously you can do it. My recommendation is to not bring a pet on this hike. That's just me. You do what you want to do. It's a tough hike. The trail is rough. You really want to watch those color blazings on the trees to make sure you're on the right trail, because as I did, I got on the wrong trail, but it worked out because it all comes back to the same spot. But I know where I did it at. It was up there at Flat Rock Junction. I was trying to shave 0.1 off of the mileage back. I thought it was the way I'd come up, but it was not. I came up a different way. So anyway, probably not going to do this trail again. So as far as the trails that I like that are really, really strenuous ones, we've done a lot of smaller trails, but the ones that are really hard, we did Water Rock Knob last week, and that's supposedly only half a mile. I think that's really underestimated. That's probably the steepest grade we've done, but it wasn't long. But I would say Gregory Bald, in my opinion, is still my favorite hike. It's the hardest one I've done, but the views at the top, if you go when the azaleas are in bloom, are just absolutely, it's almost like you're in a fairy tale. When those things are in bloom by the millions and you can walk through thickets of azaleas, you're almost like in a fairy tale almost. It's just beautiful. Mount LeConte, I would put second. The views from up there are outstanding. The views from Hemp Hill Bald, I would put third. Those are good. As far as the view from up here, it was good. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just not enough to make me go through all that to get to it again. I mean, if they took helicopter rides and dropped you off up there, I'd probably do it, but I'm not hiking that trail again. It's a rough trail. I don't know how this compares to Mount Camerer. I hope the Camerer trail, I don't mind it being steep. I think it is even a little steeper than this one, but I don't want it to be, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be, but I'm just hoping it's not as rough of a trail as this one was. This was just a rough trail. It's a rugged trail. So again, not trying to discourage anybody to do it. That's the first time in years, 4 years I think, since I've done it. I'm good. I don't think I'll do it again unless my wife wants to. And if she does, I'll find somebody to go hike with her, because it's probably not going to be me. If she really wanted to, I would. But anyway, that's my summary of it. I think there are places that you can get as good or better view with a lot less effort. In fact, when I almost got back to the parking lot, there was a guy, he had a backpack on. That thing had to weigh 40 or 50 pounds. I couldn't lug that up that mountain. There's no way I could do it. Wouldn't even try. I'm going to tell y'all a good place to visit, though. If you want a great view with a little bit of strenuous effort that doesn't last long, it's not long at all, and that's Max Patch. Up above Hot Springs on the North Carolina-Tennessee line. You've got a 360 panorama view. You can see the Black Mountains to the east and Mount Mitchell. You can look back to the west and see the Great Smokies. And you literally have the best of everything on Max Patch. So If you're looking for a good scenic hike, go to Max Patch in October when the leaves are turning, and I think you will not be disappointed. This one here, it's close to home. I'm glad I did it. I feel good. Actually, I feel like I could not do this one again, but I could do another mile or two of something else, but I don't have time. I'm going to get back down the mountain. But anyway, that's my review of the Boone Fork parking area and the Daniel Boone Scout Trail. It's tough, it's strenuous, good view at the top, some pretty places along the way, but you definitely do not want to do this hike unless you have a good pair of boots or a good pair of shoes that have some cushion, because there's a lot of impact on your legs from this hike. And I expect I'm not feeling it now so much, but I expect I will be feeling it probably later on this evening or tomorrow. So anyway, that's my view of this hike. It's a nice hike overall. It's a tough one, but I'm glad I did it. So thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. Okay everybody, I've got a little bit of an add-on that I'm going to do to my hiking video up Calloway Peak and Grandfather Mountain. This is probably the last thing you would expect to be put on the end of a hiking video, but I'm going to give a little bit of a plug to a local business. Did not know I was going to be doing this today, but after my hike, my wife Shaughnessy messaged me and asked me to stop by a whole lot of donuts in Lenore. I'm sorry, whole lot of donuts in Lenore, and pick her up some things off of their new menu. So I'm going to give them a little plug today. They make some of the biggest and best donuts anywhere, and when I say big, I mean big. I think they're about 5-6 inches across. A lot bigger than anything you're going to get at Krispy Kreme or Dunkin'. And my first cousin Mark is actually the owner of Whole Lot of Donuts, and just want to show you what my wife ordered today, and give them a little bit of a plug, and let you know they have 3 locations. They have a location in Lenore, as I just said, which is right at the foot of the mountain below Blowing Rock, off of Highway 18 behind McDonald's, and they have another location in downtown Boone, North Carolina, and then one in West Jefferson, North Carolina. I'm not sure where the West Jefferson location is. I've not been to it. I believe the one in Boone is right off of King Street downtown. But anyway, I want to show you a little bit of what their donuts look like here. They're really good. Now this blue one here is the cotton candy. And then the one down here below it, I believe that's the one called Tiger's Blood. I'm not really sure what that is. And right here on the right, you got 2 strawberry fritters. Now, I've not had the strawberry fritters yet. We're going to give those a try. I have had their peach fritters, their blueberry, and their apple fritters, and every one of them are out of this world. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be the peach, but this strawberry may even top that. We'll see. And then over here in this box, honestly, I don't know how long it's going to take my wife and I to eat all this, but in this box here, this one's called the Chunky Monkey. Now, I don't really know. I think that's got some Bavarian cream in it. Looks like crushed pretzel, and looks like maybe some kind of caramel drizzle, but it's got a lot of stuff in it. And that's the one I think my wife was really wanting to try. And then I got a vanilla iced donut with sprinkles on top. But if you are in Boone, West Jefferson, or Lenore, I want to encourage you to stop in at Whole Lot of Donuts, and maybe one of these times, if I can contact my cousin, maybe he'll let me come back up there and do a full review, and he can tell you a little bit about the place. But anyway, just wanted to give an unexpected plug for them, since I did not know I would be stopping there today, but my wife asked me to, so I did. And anyway, just wanted to let you know what they got. And once again, like and subscribe to our channel, and I appreciate it. Thank you.